कंप्यूटर है तो आपने नहीं किया कंप्यूटर है तो आपने नहीं किया
Can I start, Brahmara?
Yes, Nana, you can start.
Okay. You muted everybody else?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Om. Om. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamashyadilakhyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatetam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smruti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantao Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Taduktato Jayamudirayet. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is the
can
one
you-
you're talking about, no?
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. In your set of PDF documents, this occurs twice. One says
That-
part of, yeah, one says part of chapters 1 to 3, and once towards the end as Gita introduction.
Oh, okay. I don't know. We have this separately as Gita introduction.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, roll it up. Here. Stop here. So, yeah, this is what Swami
This is
Dayananda
Swamiji's
Saraswati ji has said.
foreword. Yeah.
Yeah, the foreword by Swamiji. And I and my family are distinctly very, very lucky that when I was in Bangalore, we had the immense benefit of Swamiji coming to our house for Bhiksha, along with some other Sishyas of him. It was a very memorable moment in our life. Yeah, I thought I'll read this forward, etc. I'm very happy that the Bhagavad Gita home study course will now be available in interactive CDs with searchable text, separate Gita verses, audio and video clips. I want readers to be aware that this is not another book on the Gita. Being an edited transcript of classroom discussions, the material is presented to the reader as a program for self-study. If this is borne in mind while reading, one can enjoy the same attitude of a student in the class, listening to the whole process of unfoldment of the contents of the words of the Gita. The study will then prove to be as rewarding as directly listening to the teacher. This attitude would prove to be Atma Krupa. Once the Krupa is there, the other two, Shastra Krupa and Ishvara Krupa, would immediately follow. I thank JP and Sarala Gupta ji for their donation of money and time in the creation of these CDs in memory of their beloved parents, Shri Sohan Lal ji and Srimati Ratan Devi ji. Signed, Swami Dayananda. Yeah, roll out. This is Shankaracharya with his disciples. Yeah.
Nanaji,
Yes, please.
this Swami Dayananda Saraswati is Shishya of Chinmayananda ji, no? No.
Yes.
Yes.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm,
He
mhm.
was in Powai, Bombay, that Sandipani Sadhanalaya.
Okay.
He was
mhm.
part of the Chinmaya mission earlier.
Earlier.
Later on, he took Swami Chinmayananda's permission and started the Arsha Vidya Gurukulam.
Mm.
Initially, Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. Initially, it was started in Coimbatore, and I had the immense benefit of visiting Swami Dayananda Saraswati in his ashram in Coimbatore.
Mhm.
Okay,
And Dayanand Saraswati is different, no?
same Dayananda. No, there is in the 18th century also.
Yes.
There is another Swami Dayananda.
Dayanand Saraswati, yes. Arya Samaj.
Arya Samaj. He is different.
Different, yes. Okay. That I wanted to be clear. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He is the 20th century Swamiji.
Swamiji, yes. Good. So wonderful.
I attended some of his Gita Jnana Yajnas, and his disciple was my teacher in Bangalore.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I attended Swami Chinmayananda's classes only when I was, I think, 8th standard. I was about 12, 13 years.
Oh, I see.
In Hubli.
Actually, as long as I was in Bangalore, and when I was in Hyderabad also, I happened to listen to Swami Chinmayananda during his Gita Jnana Yajnas.
Yes, I had done that.
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Good.
And 13 years. Yeah. I was 13 years approximately.
Shri Swami Dayananda Saraswati is a distinguished traditional teacher of Vedanta. His depth of understanding and nuanced appreciation of Western culture makes him the rare teacher who can communicate the vision of non-duality to modern listeners. He is able to make one see with immediacy the truth of oneself as the whole. Swami Dayananda has been teaching Vedanta in India for more than 4 decades and around the world since 1976. In his public talks abroad, Swamiji has spoken at many of the most prestigious American universities and has addressed international conventions, UNESCO, and the United Nations, where he participated in the Millennium Peace Summit. Actually, when I was attending Swamiji's lectures, whenever he conducted Gita Jnana Yajna, you will not believe he was kind of dancing on the dais. He was so very well immersed in what he was trying to convey. He could not help dancing. His entire anatomy was in tune with what he was talking. A great teacher, a teacher of teachers, Swami Dayananda designed and taught 6 resident in-depth Vedanta courses, each spanning 30 to 36 months. 4 were conducted in India and 2 in the United States. Each course graduated about 60 qualified acharyas, teachers who are now teaching around the world. More than 100 are now swamis and are highly respected as scholars and teachers throughout India and abroad. This more than 100 was the figure some 2 decades back when Swamiji was alive and when this was being digitized. Under Swami Dayananda's guidance, numerous centers for Vedic teaching have been founded around the world. The 2 main centers in India are the Arshavidya Ashram in Rishikesh and the Arshavidya Gurukulam in Coimbatore. In the United States, the main center is the Arshavidya Gurukulam at Salisbury, Pennsylvania. At present, there are at least 60 centers in India and abroad that carry on the same tradition of Vedantic teaching. In addition to teaching, Swami Dayananda has initiated and supported various philanthropic efforts. The All India Movement for Seva, AIM, inaugurated in November 2000, brings medical, educational, nutritional, and infrastructure assistance to villages in the remote areas of India. This movement enjoys the blessing of all traditional Hindu spiritual leaders who have united as a single body. The Acharya Sabha, through the coordinating efforts of Swami Dayananda. In November 2001, Swami Dayananda convened the first World Congress for the Preservation of Religious Diversity in Delhi, inaugurated by the Dalai Lama and the then Prime Minister, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. An important outcome of the Congress is the formation of a global commission for the preservation of religious diversity, spearheaded by Swami Dayananda. The commission had its inaugural meeting in Bangkok in June 2002. Swami Dayananda was also active in forming and participating in the Women's Global Peace Initiative, which convened at the United Nations in Geneva in October 2002. For more information, you please go to the website arshavidya.org. Yeah, Roland. Yeah, you can have the glimpses of the Arshavidya Gurukulam. This is in Rishikesh, Puranjadi, Rishikesh, the one to the left. And here, the one below is in Pennsylvania, Salisbury. Yeah, roll up. This is in Coimbatore, Anaikatti. Anaikatti, the meaning in Tamil, Anaikatti means the place where elephants roam about. That was the place. Okay?
Yeah, Anaikatti.
Anaikatti, correct. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Maragatam can supplement with a lot of Tamil input. Yes.
No, actually,
Could you please lower the picture? Could you please show that Anaikatti Ashram? Anaikatti Ashram.
That's pretty close to the Pallachi, where Coimbatore, where I used to live,
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I happened to go there. I drove from Bangalore to Coimbatore on my way to the other centers in South India, religious centers. At that time, I happened to meet Swamiji.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. A lot of hills and.
Yeah, when I met him in Coimbatore, you know what he did? He simply put his arm around my shoulders, and the first words spoken by him. He remembers he came to our house in Bangalore. The first words spoken by him after putting his arm around my shoulders, "Kya re, kaisa ho?" That's very nice person.
I also had
he lived up to his name, Dayananda. He was always happy, being compassionate. Always happy, being compassionate. Yeah, Roland.
Prem and I also had the opportunity to visit the ashram.
Yes,
Of
correct.
course, yeah.
You and Prem and children also, I think.
No, I think Aishu Kalyan did not come. Only Prem and I went.
Okay, very good. Very good. Yeah, skip all this. Transliteration, etc. All this skip.
Oh, 1 second, Nana. 1 minute. I will have to just go back.
Page up and page down is not working yet, is it?
No, that is different now. I will just need to open.
This is quite extensive, this introduction. It is almost as big as the summary after the 66th verse we have gone through for the past about a week plus. This may take, because this may not have any abstractness in the text. Because of that, we could perhaps go faster. There is one thing, and it may not have extensive Sanskrit, so that makes it perhaps easier to read and go through it. The number of doubts also will be very far and few between, unlike the earlier form of abstract text in the summary. PDF.
Coming. It just got, yeah. 1 second. In fact, in Bangalore, if I remember, we did Pada Puja for him.
Correct. He came for Bhiksha. Correct.
Is there any way that I think we can contribute something towards the aim or towards the ashram, maybe as a group, as part of our dakshina?
You can, if you open that harshavidya.org, that tell you.
Okay.
That will tell you.
Right. Another thing is Swami Tattvavidananda, his direct disciple.
Yeah, he took sannyasa, okay, at the behest of Swami Dayananda.
Okay.
So Swami Dayananda was not keen on giving him sannyasa because he had his wife and children then, and perhaps at least one of the parents. So he wanted to be sure whether he is very keen on sannyasa and asked his wife also to be present, I believe. And when the wife said no objection at all in my husband taking to sannyas, that is when he has initiated him into sannyas. Yeah. Now, these are all the headings of the titles. You go to the main text. This will go on for some 3-4 pages. Roll up. Go away from the contents. Yeah. Introduction, correct. Yeah. Slightly. Introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It is said that a human birth is not easy to achieve. If we look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, there are millions of years between the ape and the human being. In other words, the monkey did not become a person overnight. Can you shift it to the right a little?
Yeah, I will shift it now.
Even from the standpoint of reincarnation, where human birth is said to be a result of one's own past actions, karma, it is not easy. And once you have this human body, whether it be due to karma or the natural selection inherent in evolution, you are no longer in the hands of nature. You now have the rare capacity called free will to initiate a further process of evolution. The whole process then is in your own hands. An animal, on the other hand, is fulfilled once it survives a few years and produces an offspring. The cow, for example, need not do anything more than reach physical maturity in order to be an adult. It need not do anything to be evolved emotionally. There is no such thing as an emotionally mature cow. The only goal of a cow's life is to survive to adulthood, and as an adult, to survive as long as it can. Once it has become an adult, the cow is mature in every way. Now, do you people recollect that you have done this already once?
Yes.
Okay, good. I suppose it's not a boredom, this exercise.
No, it is in fact very
Yeah.
refreshing, and it is important that we do it again.
Yeah, okay, good. A human being also has to become an adult physically. Otherwise, one's life is unfulfilled. To become an adult physically, you need only survive by appeasing your hunger and thirst and avoiding fatal accidents and diseases. You need not do anything special. The process is a very natural one, made possible by the survival instinct common to all living beings. Hence, after a few years, you find that you have become an adult. Until you're a physical adult, you are in the hands of nature. Nature takes care of your physical growth until you can no longer say, I'm a child. Emotional maturity, however, does not happen in the same way. Unlike physical maturity, emotional growth is purely in your own hands. Unlike a cow, one need not be mature just because one happens to have an adult physical body. Inner maturity is a process that you have to initiate because you are a human being enjoying a faculty of choice. The human pursuit, whatever is fundamentally sought, uh, whatever is fundamentally sought after by every human being is called Purushartha in Sanskrit. Although each individual seeks something peculiar, there are four ends that everyone seeks. Whether he or she is an Eskimo in Alaska or someone living in a remote village in India, the universal ends most commonly sought after are security and pleasure, artha and kama. The remaining two purusharthas, dharma and moksha, to be explained below, can also be accomplished by a human being. That which gives you any kind of security, emotional, economical, or social, is called artha in Sanskrit. Artha may be in the form of cash or liquid assets, stocks, real estate, relationships, a home, a good name, a title, recognition, influence, or power of any kind. Such accomplishments boost one's ego and therefore also provide some security for the ego. And although each person seeks various forms of security at a given time, that he or she is seeking security is common to all. Seeking pleasure is another purushartha called kama in Sanskrit. It too takes many forms. For instance, sensory pleasures may be anything from seafood or ice cream onwards. Examples of intellectual pleasures are those derived from playing certain games, solving puzzles or riddles, and studying certain bodies of knowledge. Thus, we have varieties of pleasures. Anything that satisfies your senses, that pleases your mind, that touches your heart, and evokes in you a certain appreciation is kama. Any form of pleasure you derive from your home, for example, or from a relationship is kama. Music and travel are also kama, not artha, because by pursuing them, you are seeking pleasure, not security. You do not go to Hawaii or the Bahamas to seek security. In fact, you lose some security in the form of money when you go to these places. Because you happen to have some money, you travel for pleasure, not for security. There is another form of pleasure derived from seeing the stars on a beautiful night, enjoying the sunshine, a flower, a playing child, or a beautiful painting, for example. Because this pleasure is neither sensory nor intellectual, I will call it aesthetic pleasure. Even though such pleasures go beyond one's senses and intellect, they are still karma. Dharma as a human end. There is a third Purushartha dharma, that is neither artha nor kama. Dharma is a word with many meanings, as we shall see. Here it refers to the pleasure born of harmony, the pleasure derived from friendship, sharing, helping another person, and so on. For example, when you are able to relieve someone else's suffering, you experience a joy that is not kama. This form of pleasure is different from both artha and kama, and in that you do not usually seek out a person in pain in order to pick up some pleasure. It is not the same thing as going to Hawaii or to a concert. You happen to come across someone in pain. You are able to alleviate the person's discomfort and you feel happy. A doctor who does not work purely for financial gain enjoys this kind of pleasure. Charity works in the same way. Those who are able to discover joy in such work do so, I would say, because there is inner growth and understanding, a certain sensitivity on their part. This sensitivity is also required to understand love. For to love another person thoroughly is to understand the other person, for which one should be educated, cultured. If a person where is that?
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, you happen to. Yeah. Where is that?
Yeah,
Dr.
in the last
Last line. Okay. If a person has not learned through experiences, if a person is not cultured, what kind of joy can he or she get out of life? For such people, there can be only sensory pleasures, eating, for example. But many people, simple joys are lacking in their lives. Thus, the gain in one's life is commensurate with what one knows. It seems that a certain professor of medicine in his introductory class said, what your mind does not know, your eyes do not see. What he meant was that without medical knowledge, the cause for a disease would continue to elude a person, even though the symptoms are everywhere. The eyes may see the symptoms, but the mind does not know. In life also, the more I know, the brighter the life is, because I cannot see more than what I know. This is not to imply that I should necessarily get more out of life, only that my life is to be lived properly, fully, which implies a lot of understanding. Living does not simply mean dragging yourself around from day to day, from bed to work, back home and to bed again. The whole process repeats itself until the weekend comes. Then you drag yourself to some recreation in the hope of forgetting yourself, which is why recreation becomes so important. In fact, your whole life can be a recreation. Someone once asked Swamiji, Swamiji, do you not take any holidays? You seem to be working every day. In fact, the Swamiji's life is one long holiday. If you enjoy what you do, life is very simple. If you do not enjoy what you do, then you have to do something to enjoy, which can be very costly. On the other hand, any pleasure that comes out of one's maturing process is a different type of joy. Not hurting someone or doing the right thing at the right time, for instance, gives you joy, if not immediately, later. Suppose you have postponed doing something like the laundry, vacuuming, or letter writing. The day you decide to do it and do it, you find that there is a joy in finally having done it. A joy that is neither pleasure nor security. It is just doing what is to be done. It is dharma, a very big topic that we will discuss later. For now, it is enough to know that as you grow in your understanding, your dharma also grows. These then are the three of the four Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, and Dharma. Because of the importance we place on Dharma, the order can now be reversed. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Dharma accounts for your maturity. The more mature you are, the more dharmika you are. In order to be mature, an understanding of Dharma and conformity to it become of prime importance in one's life. Thus, Dharma occupies the first place among these three human ends. Without violating Dharma, doing what is to be done, you pursue Artha and Kama, security and pleasure. That is how these three universal human pursuits are to be understood. Moksha, freedom from what? Even though it comes last, moksha is a very important purushartha, as we shall see. Moksha is recognized as a pursuit only by a very few people in any given generation, because a certain appreciation, a certain maturity or insight about life and its struggles One minute.
Will I read, Nana?
No. Where is this?
It's the first
Everyone
line.
is always seeking freedom in one form or the other. Although we think of freedom
You
in
did not read
in a
that
positive
completely.
way.
1 second, Nana.
Ah,
I will just share this one.
okay. Even
Okay.
though it comes last, moksha is a very important purushartha. As we shall see, moksha is recognized as a pursuit only by a very few people in any given generation, because a certain appreciation, a certain maturity or insight about life and its struggles is required to understand moksha. People do not discerningly pursue it, although everyone is in fact always seeking freedom in one form or the other. Although we think of freedom in a very positive way, the word moksha is actually defined in a negative sense. There is something binding you from which you want to become free, and that freedom is moksha. We say, for example, that a man who is not in jail has freedom, whereas if he were in jail, he does not, because he cannot choose to come out. He has lost his freedom of mobility and wants to gain it. He wants freedom from the shackles of jail. If you are using crutches because of a leg fracture, you want freedom from the crutches. Similarly, an infant requiring the help of the wall or the mother's hand in order to stand wants to be free of the wall of the hand and therefore strives to stand on his or her own feet. Freedom then is always freedom from something. Moksha means freedom from something I do not want. And because moksha is a purushartha, a human end common to all, wanting to be free is not peculiar to me alone. Everyone wants to be free from certain things that are common to all. That I am attached to particular forms of security, artha, reveals a certain fact about myself, that I am insecure. That I also seek pleasures, kama, reveals that I am restless, that I am not satisfied with myself. I have to do something in order to please myself, which means that I am displeased with myself. If you are always seeking security and pleasure, when will you make your life? When will you really be able to say, I have made it? You can say that only when you see yourself as secure and are pleased with yourself. Then you are free. You have moksha. Moksha does not mean salvation. In fact, there is no word in Sanskrit for salvation, which is just as well, since salvation implies a certain condemnation of yourself. It implies that someone has to salvage you, has to save you, which is not what is meant by moksha at all. The word moksha refers only to the freeing of myself from certain fetters. The basic ones are the notions that I am insecure and I am displeased with myself. I must see myself as secure and be pleased with myself as I am. Only then do I have moksha. If I am secure and pleased with myself, what situation is going to change that? I require no security or a situational change whatsoever to be secure and at peace. This should be understood well. You spend your entire life manipulating the world to please yourself. In the process, you find that 2 hands and legs, 5 senses, and a mind are not enough to contend with all the factors involved. There are just too many events and situations, as well as natural forces, over which you seem to have no control. Freedom is freedom from seeking. With my limited powers and limited knowledge, I find that I can never measure up to the demands of gaining the securities and pleasures that I seek. This is why life seems to be a problem. Only when you reach 39 or 40, when you undergo what is sometimes referred to as the midlife crisis, do you begin to understand this. Even though you may think your marriage or your job is your crisis, actually you are the crisis. Your crisis has nothing to do with marriage or any of the other situations in your life. Your tendency, however, is to find a scapegoat for every problem you have, and the immediate scapegoat available is often your partner in life. When we look into our various pursuits, artha, kama, and dharma, we find that what we really seek is none of these. We seek only freedom from being a seeker. Everyone is a seeker, pursuing artha and kama mainly, and to some extent dharma. But ultimately, everyone is seeking only moksha. Therefore, Therefore, moksha alone is the real end. In other words, freedom from being insecure is what we seek when we seek security. When I seek certain securities, I am not really seeking the securities themselves. I am seeking freedom from being insecure. This distinction should be clearly understood. The shift in emphasis that this distinction represents is what we call learning. Seeking security is very natural for an uninformed person, one who does not think about or understand his or her own ideas and urges. Security is a particular thing and is always taken to be outside oneself. That I am insecure is a totally accepted conclusion for such a person, a conclusion that is never doubted or questioned. Various philosophies have arisen from this insecurity. One person says, for instance, that money will not give you security, while another person says it will, but only here on earth, not later. Later security, we are told, can only be gained by doing certain prescribed acts. Thus, we have varieties of religions and philosophies, all of which have been born out of accepting that I am insecure and that security is something outside of myself. Even as a child, One's security depends on the constant availability of protection, love and care of one's parents. On the other hand, once the child has grown up, the situation is reversed. Now the parents' security depends on the attention of the child. Parents often feel neglected by their own grown-up children who are now occupied with their own lives. Once a child has grown up, security is no more in the parents' hands. It lies elsewhere. Yeah, that I
I
lack
read
is
from
the
now on,
problem.
Nana.
Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, give me 5 more minutes.
Okay.
That I
Fine.
lack is the problem. As a child, I was insecure, and now also I'm insecure. There is a constant shift in what I take to be securities, which is considered to be a normal life for everyone. No one, however, deserves to have this problem. Security is not the problem. That I lack something is not the problem. The problem is that I lack. This difference must be seen clearly. What I lack is always variable. I lacked iced tea. I lack children. I lack a house. What one lacks is always peculiar to the individual at a given time and place in one's life. This differs from individual to individual, from culture to culture. However, this I lack is common to all and is entirely different from what I lack. I may lack a healthy body, a taller body, a thinner body, a turned up nose, longer eyelashes, or where is that? Or a different skin color. And this may only be the beginning of an endless list. But the fact that I conclude that I lack is universal. For instance, what can you do if your height is less than you would like it to be? The most you can do is to wear high-heeled shoes, which does not really make you any taller. In fact, in the eyes of others, you may be the shorter. It is only when you are being recruited for a basketball team that anyone else thinks that about your height. Height is your complex. I do not think about your height until you get into high-heeled shoes and try to walk. Only then do I see your height because you have drawn my attention to it, and I immediately cut it down by a few inches. I may actually reduce it to more than the actual height of your heels. You not only fall short of my expectation, but also you become shorter than what you really are. Thus, if you have a complex with reference to your height, you are stuck. If you were a wire or something stretchable, your height could be increased. But here, no stretching is possible. Similarly, there are a lot of things that you are stuck with because the things you are not known and unknown are countless. And what you lack, you can never totally fulfill. The more you go after what you lack, the more you breed what you lack, because what you lack has a knack of multiplying itself. It is like going to the supermarket to pick up a few things you lack and coming home with a few more desires to be fulfilled when you get your following week's paycheck. This is why we say desire is like fire that leaves a black trail after itself. No matter how much you feed it, fire never says enough. Similarly, human beings can never say enough to securities and pleasures. Yeah, take over.
Insecure plus insecure is not secure. When then are you going to completely fulfill your arthas and kamas? I am not saying you should not seek out security. That is not the emphasis here. We are only trying to understand the very pursuit itself. Money definitely has its value. But if you think that there is security in money or in anything else, the process of seeking becomes endless. The insecure me, the one who wants to be secure, does not really become secure by the addition of what I consider to be securities. No one can say, I am secure even with all possible securities. As long as I require crutches, the sense of insecurity centered on me will remain with me. Feeling secure because I have crutches does not mean I am secure. I feel secure only because of the crutches, whereas the sense of insecurity centered on me remains. Suppose I am insecure and what I think is secure is as insecure as I am. For example, if one insecure person marries another insecure person in order to be secure, the result is not security. All that results is a marriage between two insecure people. Can there be a greater hell anywhere? When two such people come together, it is a problem because insecurity plus insecurity do not make security, only double insecurity. There is a story about a man who, as he was bathing by the side of a river, slipped and was swept away by the current. Because he could not swim, he prayed, "Oh Lord, please help me." Just then a log came along and, catching hold of it, the man said, "My God, God is great." Then he realized that the log had fur on it and hands also. He had thought he was holding on to a log, but now he realized that the log was holding on to him. Still, he thought that the Lord was saving him. He found, however, that the Lord was a grizzly bear that, having fallen from a tree, had also been swept up by the current. Once he realized he was holding on to a bear, he wanted to escape, but the bear already had too tight a hold on him. Who holds on to what? Similarly, you do not know which holds what or who holds whom. You may have thought you were holding on to something, only to find that you cannot give it up, which means it is holding you. This is a problem. Any habit is the same. An alcoholic was once a free person. When he or she took the first drink, the person poured the alcohol into the glass and then, holding on to the glass, drank from it. No problem. However, after some time, the person finds that he or she does not drink at all. As soon as happy hour arrives, the bottle tells the person, "Come here," and he or she goes like a zombie. Then the bottle says, "Come on, pick me up," and then the person picks it up. It says, "Come on, pour me into the glass, drink," and the person drinks. Then it says, one more, and the person takes more and more alcohol without his volitional control. Who is this person now? The one who was previously free? Does he or she drink? Or does the drink the person? In so many situations, no one knows who holds on to what. I see no difference between the grabber and the grabbed, the holder and the held. Even inert things like drinks, cards, or dice have the capacity to grab me, to say nothing of relationships, since people are equally insecure. Therefore, an insecure me plus anything in this world that happens to be within the framework of time is not going to make me secure. This should be, we should understand well. We are not trying to develop.
Brahmara, that footnote you read, that happy hour.
The happy hour is the time in a bar where when drinks are served at reduced prices.
Yeah.
So this we should understand well. We are not trying to develop a particular attitude here, just a simple appreciation of the facts. The facts of insecurity. That I am insecure is a fact, and that I seek securities is also a fact. That which I consider secure is not secure because it also is finite. This too is a fact. You may think that by giving away whatever securities you have, you will become secure. One man did this. He gave away his house, his business, and his bank balance and went to a Swami. But the Swami was also insecure and wanted to have a following of disciples. Previously, the man was on a husband trip, a father trip, a business money trip, and now he is on another trip, a Swami Atma trip minus house, wife, children, money, and so on. To think that subtraction is going to help when addition does not is nothing but a lack of understanding. And if artha is like this, karma is the same. No pleasure is going to be lasting. Take music, for instance. You buy a recording of a hit song. Why is this song a hit? Because, like a hit man, it knocks off all the other songs out of the running. Last month's hit song has been hit and is no longer a hit song. It only gathers dust on your tape deck. No one bothers about it anymore. Similarly, your attitude is always changing. What made you happy before no longer provides the same joy. You get tired of everything. Even if God were around you all the time, you would eventually want some privacy. This constant changing is natural because you are basically displeased with yourself. Therefore, you are pleased only now and then. The only silver lining in life is one's hope. This is all that keeps you going. Perhaps hope is nature's way of enabling you to survive so that you can discover nature herself. Suppose those moments of pleasure, which are so few and far between, were denied to a given person. Suppose they were not there at all. Do you think a self-conscious human being, the displeased human being, would want to live? He or she would surely commit suicide. And in spite of these moments of pleasure, if a person thinks there is no possibility of being happy, either because of a loss or some kind or an apprehension of some great calamity, the person would choose not to live. This is the thinking behind all suicides. Therefore, moments of pleasure are worthwhile because they keep you going. The hope is that you will discover that you do not need a mother-in-law to be displeased. You need only yourself. If you close the doors, put aside the world, and sit in an easy chair and try to be with yourself, then you will understand whether you are pleased with yourself or not. You will find that you do not require a world of perception, a world of books, or anything to be displeased. All that you require is yourself. Just 1 second. I request everyone to mute yourself, please. Yeah. All that you require is yourself. After just a few minutes of sitting with yourself, you want to get up and go out or take a shower. Anything other than sitting with yourself. The world is not the cause of your problems. To be displeased then requires nothing but yourself. It is not the world that displeases you. You are displeased with yourself. And whatever pleases you is going to be time-bound, all of which we will see as we study the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Because any karma, any pleasure you pick up is limited by nature in terms of time, content, and degree. The one who is displeased remains in spite of occasional moments of pleasure. This is the matra sparshastu kaunteya, right, Anna?
Very right.
Therefore, we have now discerned the problem to be the conclusion about myself that I am displeased. This is a fact that is not going to be altered just because I pick up moments of pleasure. That I am insecure does not change merely because I acquire or give up certain securities. Thus, the only solution is to see myself secure and pleased with myself. But how is it possible to do this? If with all these securities and pleasures, I am displeased with myself, how am I going to see myself pleased without them? I'm going to read this again. If with all these securities and pleasures, I am displeased with myself, how am I going to see myself pleased without them? This is where the teaching called Vedanta comes in and tells you that your problem is not one of lacking something, but of not knowing that you do not lack anything. It converts all one's pursuits into a pursuit of knowledge. I will read this one more time. If with all these securities and pleasures I am displeased with myself, how am I going to see myself pleased without them? This is where the teaching called Vedanta comes in and tells you that your problem is not one of lacking something, but of not knowing that you do not lack anything. It converts all one's pursuits into a pursuit of knowledge. In the vision of Vedanta, there is no reason for you to be displeased with yourself because you are totally acceptable to yourself, not in terms of attitude, but in reality. It is not a belief, it is a fact, a discoverable fact. Only something that can be discovered is a fact. And the discoverable fact here is that you lack nothing. You are totally free. This is a vision of you, and this is the heart of Vedanta, the heart of this teaching. The problem that I lack is thereby converted into ignorance, the cause of which I do not know for the time being. Until I come to know, the vision assumes the status of a promise. You are the problem. You are the solution. Vedanta defines the problem as not what you lack, but that you lack, and says that you are the solution because you are the problem. There are two types of problems. One has its solution outside the problem, and the other has its solution within the very problem itself. The solution to the problem of feeling cold, for example, is outside the problem, in the sense that you have to cover yourself, go to the fireside, or go out into the sun. You may even decide to go to the Bahamas. When the solution to a problem is outside, it means that you have to do something to solve the problem. If hunger is your problem, you have to feed the hunger by eating food, which is also outside. The solution to a jigsaw puzzle, however, is within the problem, within the puzzle itself, because the solution is within the problem. There is no problem, in fact. The only problem is you, and the solution is also you. When you do not understand something, it is a problem for you. Whereas when you do understand, there is no problem. The understanding is the solution. In the vision of Vedanta, you have no problem, in fact. Then you may ask, how can I recognize that I do not have a problem? This seems to be one more problem to add to the ones I already have. But is it? One problem is not there. The problem of self non-acceptance. Because in the vision of Vedanta, the self is acceptable. What else do you want really? The only problem any human being has is self non-acceptance. Therefore, you are the problem and you are the solution. Now your pursuit becomes one of knowing yourself, and it can be a game, fun all the way. This is the teaching. A discriminative analysis of dharma, artha, and kama leads one to a certain fundamental human problem. Once this human problem has been discerned, you will take special steps to resolve it, even though you may continue to pursue artha, kama, and dharma. The solution to this original fundamental problem is called moksha. Moksha is not salvation. Moksha, as we have said, is not an equivalent to salvation, as is commonly thought. Nor is it some kind of accomplishment other than yourself. As freedom from something, however, moksha could be considered a negative accomplishment of sorts. Nevertheless, there is nothing more positive than moksha. How is it negative, Nana, this negative accomplishment?
Because it's not outside you. It is you, the one who is striving to accomplish, and finally whatever result he gets, it is him. There's nothing outside. It is kind of negative. What you have been searching, it was in your pocket. Where is the positive result that you have got out of your effort? It is indeed negative. You have to realize, you have to understand, you have to know.
Okay.
Swakantabharanam yatha.
Correct.
That Swakantabharanam, is it positively obtained or negatively obtained? Atma tu satatam praptopi apraptavata vidyaya tannashe praptavad bhati Swakantabharanam yatha.
Okay.
From that point of view, it's kind of negative.
Still, Nana, it is not clear. Negative accomplishment means what?
Negative accomplishment is that which you have already got with you, you have not known that you have got it already, and you have striven all your life, tirelessly you have striven for that, and finally discovered that it is indeed you. Is it a positive accomplishment or negative? Though you have been successful right through, what has been with you, you have never known. What has been with you, you have never known.
Basically, you're not acquiring something new. It is always there with you. That is why it is a negative accomplishment. Usually means acquiring something that you don't have.
Correct.
Therefore, it is a negative accomplishment of sorts.
Mm.
Yeah. Got it.
Once, jocularly, there is one joke regarding a person, a sadhaka. He did a lot of tapasya, and finally the god he was trying to please appeared, and the god asked him, "What do you want?" He said, "I want a nose." God said, "That is the Siddha Vishaya. What is Siddha Vishaya? I can't do anything to make it accomplished by you. It is also Siddha Vishaya. If you want a second nose, you tell me. Okay? And tell me where you want it placed. You have already got a nose. That's it. So this tapasya, has it become fruitful, or it has become negative kind of? This is a joke. Yeah.
Right. Once we say freedom, the question is freedom
Wait
from.
a minute. That is why Jnanis, I believe, when indeed they have rediscovered themselves, they will think fools of themselves. My God, what a foolish person I had been. This I did not know. This That wealth I have got with me, I did not know at all. I was running here and there, and I was doing this kind of action, that kind of action. I was studying this book and going to that guru, and I am going to this tirtha, etc., that yatra. What striving efforts I have performed for only this. I did not know what a fool I was. That's how he will exclaim, I believe.
I
Yeah.
think negative accomplishment means
That is only.
I do
it
not
is
want.
only-
I do not want this. I do not want this. I do not want this. That is negative accomplishment.
No, not that. It's not that.
Means I had to
Because you
leave
have
this
discovered.
to
No.
get moksha. I had to leave this.
No. This is only a figurative statement. Not that it indeed is negative. Because commensurate with his effort, what he has got what he has already had all along. So what is it he has achieved anew? Nothing. Only
Yes.
thing is, he has realized that he himself has that he himself is a free person.
Yeah.
It's one of knowing, that's all.
Nevertheless, so should I continue? Yeah. Moksha, as we have said, is not an equivalent to salvation as it is commonly thought, nor is it some kind of accomplishment other than yourself. As freedom from something, however, moksha could be considered a negative accomplishment of sorts. Nevertheless, there is nothing more positive than moksha. Once we say freedom, the question is, freedom from what? And the answer is simply, freedom from something I do not want. No one wants freedom from what he or she wants. Therefore, no one wants freedom from artha or kama, securities and pleasures. We want artha, kama, a little bit of dharma plus moksha. Moksha is not freedom from artha or kama. That which artha provides, moksha cannot provide. But that which moksha provides cannot be provided by artha, kama, and dharma combined. A person who has moksha also has the freedom to pursue the other three human ends, artha, kama, and dharma, if he or she chooses. This then is real freedom and not freedom from these pursuits. And who is it that undertakes these pursuits? Nana, this paragraph is not very clear, wherein it is not freedom from artha or kama. That artha provides, moksha cannot provide.
What artha provides? Artha provides you security.
Correct.
Moksha does not provide security to you. What kind of security is that? Moksha reveals that you are a very secure person already. So there is no other security that it can provide to you. It's like that God who appeared for the tapasya, saying he cannot give the nose which he already has. So what artha provides, security, moksha cannot provide. Because essentially you are secure. You are not a person with anything that is lacking. Okay? You are not a wanting person anymore. When you are not a wanting person, where is a question of security which artha can provide? So it does not come in the purview of moksha at all. Whereas when you are a moksha purusha, okay? When you are a moksha, here purusha must be understood. Purusha does not mean gender-wise. Puravu ushati iti purushaha. The one who indwells in the body is a purusha. Who indwells is man and woman also. So that purusha, when he has got the final purushartha, moksha purushartha, he realizes that, hey, this is so simple. Oh, I did not know at all. And with that freedom, he can undertake to do Artha, Kama and Dharma also. If he wants, he can do. If he chooses, he will not do. Either way, okay for him.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is, what is available through the final Purushartha is not available through the other three Purusharthas at all.
Mm.
Okay?
This then is real freedom and not freedom from these pursuits. Sorry to go back again. The reason why I had this thing was that which Artha provides, Moksha cannot provide. There, in my understanding, Moksha is something which is complete. Moksha is something that gives you full security. So, what Artha provides, how come Moksha cannot provide? It is able to complete the whole thing, isn't it?
No.
That was my doubt.
Moksha does not provide you full security. What do you mean by saying full security?
It is security. Moksha is you're feeling secure as a person. You don't have any other security outside of yourself.
No. You moksha
Niradhar. Niradhar means without
moksha
adhar.
reveals that you are. Wait a minute, sir. Moksha reveals that you are essentially secure. You need not be rendered secure at all.
Correct.
It is like that nose on that person.
Right.
Okay, you are secure all the time. There is no security I need to provide for you. Moksha can talk to you when necessary like this. You are already secure. There is no insecurity at all in you. Then where is a question of my trying to provide you security? You are Ananda Swarupaha. Where is the need for me to get rid of your sorrow? Sorrow is like lacking security. Lacking security, you are sorrowful. And when you have discovered yourself as Ananda Swarupaha, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan padhamanogatan atmaniyeva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Okay? This security is synonymous with a wanting person. A wanting person is insecure. A moksha purusha is not a wanting person at all. Is it not? Moksha purusha is who?
He is full.
He is full. And he is an accomplished person. Dukkheshu anidvignamanaha, sukheshu vigataspruha, vita raga bhaya krodha. There is no raga for him, no dvesha for him. Then where is the need for security for him? Where is the need for kama for him? Where is the need for him to conform to dharma? None of these things is really required. Okay? You
Can I
doubtless have a
say
doubt.
something?
I think it's the understanding of security as we see it in the material world. We think secure means having whatever, good relationship, having a bank. These are our notion of security, which is incorrect. Ultimately, when you
Only a wanting person is insecure.
absolutely understand.
And only a wanting person needs security. That is why he tries to conform to Artha Kama. And once in a while, he will request Ketaya to be his accomplice in achieving Artha and Kama. Very rarely he will be a dharmic person. Because his Artha and Kama, which are driven by Raga and Dvesha, they generally overtake the tenets of Dharma. Very rarely he will be a dharmic person. But he will be a dharmic person, all right. But all these will make him realize that he is still insecure. No matter what he has, he is still insecure.
True. And also, Nanaji, is it not the plurality also that causes the insecurity? The moment you know you're one with, you're the same, then there is no question insecure.
No, here the duality doesn't come at all. It's a matter of one realizing that he is not a wanting person per se. He is not at all a wanting person.
True. Yeah,
See,
that's one thing. But I was also thinking maybe when you know that there is no two, then also there is no insecurity. So insecurity comes when there is something that you see outside of yourself, right? You want to make yourself secure.
No, when you see outside of yourself, adhatasya bhayam bhavati.
Bhayam, more of bhayam, not that.
When you
Okay.
see the second one, bhayam bhavati. It's not so much of insecurity.
More of a bhaya. You're right. I understood. That's clear now.
You got my point, sir.
Yes.
But-
I got it.
But bhaya comes only because of insecurity.
Correct.
Thin line. Yeah, it's a subtle difference between the two.
Hmm.
It is looking like more than our trying to understand what is moksha, we will have to now make an effort to understand what is security.
Yeah.
So security at the last of it is as though taking the cake.
Correct.
Okay.
It's
We
like
are
I think-
ignorance.
we're essentially
Yeah.
secure. That's what the Shastra says.
Right.
See, the divine quality is first thing is abhayam.
Look at
I
it this
think,
way.
I think in the.
Sir,
Okay.
when all of us were born, did we have feeling of insecurity then?
No.
We were cuddled in the mother's lap. We were fed through her wonderful breast milk. And we were fondled by the parents. And anybody looking at was very, very pleased. Adding to our ego, there is no insecurity at all, no feeling of insecurity. Neither was there any feeling of greatness. I am able to make so many people happy. That kind of a thing is not also there in the makeup of the mind of the infant. He is happy by himself. When you go and say, smilingly talk to him, hey, how are you? And he will smile. He will smile, toothless smile. It's a great wonder how from that innocent stature we have become an adult and cultivated a lot of kalmasha later.
Ego.
Yeah, that became the problem of insecurity.
Yes.
We were not a wanting person when we were an infant. Gradually, we became a wanting person. That wanting person has ensured we are insecure all the time.
Yeah.
Nanaji, I have one question here. So it says that moksha is not a freedom from artha kama. So
Moksha is?
in the first line here it says moksha is not freedom from artha kama. So that means like all these things, even if the freedom is from the suffering or the samsara, is that what is called moksha, right? And
Moksha is that you discover you are a free person. You are neither bound by artha, nor kama, nor dharma. And also that you are essentially an anandi, an ananda swarupi. Your swabhava is one of ananda. You are one of ananda.
Mhm.
And you have, as you went on growing, you picked up little bits of this and that, and that is how you became bound.
Mhm.
What little you think or you thought you have acquired, all those things are shackles for you. All those shackles have as though bound you, and you are even now not bound. You are free. You have to realize that.
Okay.
And when you realize that, there is no insecurity at all. That is why from that point of view in this para says, what Artha, Kama and Dharma cannot provide towards moksha, moksha, the moksha Purusha, can indulge in either Artha, Kama and Dharma if that person chooses.
Chooses. Okay.
Otherwise, he need not.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Nanaji.
That is, the freedom to choose is in absolute measure available to the moksha Purusha, not to others.
Same like
That-
jailer.
that-
Jailer, he can come and go inside the jail.
Yes, yes,
Like that.
yes.
But the convict is always in the prison.
Correct,
He cannot move. He is bound. But
correct.
the jailer can choose to go out and come.
Very right.
So similar to that.
Yeah. Go forward, Brahmana.
And who is it? This then is the real freedom and not freedom from these pursuits. And who is it that undertakes these pursuits? The person called Purusha in Sanskrit, meaning any person, young or old, man or woman, Indian or American. This Purusha, the person, is the one who is after Artha and Kama. All actions have a purpose. A human being never undertakes a deliberate activity without it having a purpose. Even involuntary actions have a purpose, but here we are talking only about those actions that are voluntary. Voluntary, deliberate actions always presuppose a desirer, whose desire is never for the action as such, but for the result, the object of desire. There is always some end in view. An object that you have cannot become an object of desire if you know you have it. However, you may have something and not recognize that you have it, and therefore it may become the object of your desire. Thus, the clause, if you know you have it, is important here. For instance, you cannot desire a head over your shoulders, since you already have one. Even if you have such a desire, no one can fulfill it, not even the Lord. If you were to ask him why, in spite of all your devotion and prayers, he has not fulfilled your desire, he could only say, I cannot give you what you already have. When I tell you that I cannot give you something, there are only two possible reasons for my response. One is that I am incapable of giving it to you due to my lack of knowledge, power, or resources. The other possibility is that I can give it to you, but you do not deserve it. You are not qualified to receive it. Therefore, either you are not qualified to receive it, or I am not qualified to give it to you. Here, however, the incapacity to give you a head over your shoulders is because you are asking for something that you already have. How then can even God give you one? If you want one more head, being God, he can give you a second head, although I do not know how a second head is going to help you if the one you already have has not helped you. But he can give it to you. You will have to tell him, of course, where you would like to put it. But do not ask him to give you a head over your shoulders. What you have, he cannot give you. Although you cannot desire an object that you know you have, you can always desire an object that you do not have. There are many things that you do not have, like a green card, a new house, another job, a promotion, a wife, a husband, or children, a trip to a particular place. Anything you do not have, you can desire. Thus, what you do not have can become an object of your desire. Without a purpose, there is no effort, no deliberate activity. Therefore, the Purusha, the person, undertakes activities for accomplishing different ends, mainly Artha and Kama, but also Dharma. If this is so, there is a very important question to be asked. Do I want Artha and Kama for the sake of Artha and Kama themselves? The answer to this question is what distinguishes the entire Vedic vision of human life from one's usual way of looking at it. Why do I seek out securities and pleasures? Is karma for its own sake? Is it for the sake of pleasure? Is it just for fun? If so, then with it or without it, you are the same. You go for it just because you go for it. In other words, it is nothing more than a fancy. But is this really the case? Are Artha and Kama, which we are seeking in life, for their own sake, or are they for myself? The Veda says that every object of my desire is for my sake alone. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. We only desire that which we know. No one can desire an object that is unknown to him or her. None of you has a desire for Gaga Bugan, for instance. An unknown Gaga Bugan cannot be an object of desire. In fact, there is no such thing as Gaga Bugan. No amount of coaxing will cause you to get into your car, will cause you to get into your car and go to buy Gaga Bugan. But you always have a reason for getting into your car. Some desire is always being fulfilled. Thus, an unknown object does not become an object of desire. Only known objects become objects of desires. There are, of course, some known objects for which I do not have a desire.
Hari Om.
Scorpion.
Hari
Yeah.
Om. Why do we seek moksha? Is it not a desire?
It is.
Do we know what is moksha?
We don't know, therefore we seek it.
But if we don't know, why are we seeking? In the earlier para, the Gagabugan is something
Yes.
I do not know at all. When I
Yeah,
do not know at all, I have no desire for that Gagabugan. And if I also do not know moksha, like I do not know Gagabugan, why do I desire to be a mokshi? That
I know that.
indicates the underlying, okay, unknown fact is that you know what is moksha. You have forgotten. You have forgotten that it is you. It is like the pair of glasses on Brahmana's head. She shifted the pair of glasses to her head when she was talking to the patient. And later on, in trying to make the prescription for the patient, she went on looking for the glasses. What is already with you? You have been searching for it. So the moksha is already with you. You are searching for it and you have a desire for that. You want to get out of sorrow. You want to be eternally happy. Why? That desire itself suggests that it is not unknown to you, but you have forgotten now. That is the
Nanaji.
underlying principle. Yes, please.
I totally agree with you that it is something that is already there and we have forgotten. However, this was reminded to us through the scriptures, through the Guru. So that is how we come to know there's something called moksha, which is freedom from all these bondages. Am I right?
See, the teaching, the Shastra and the Guru, they give you the pramana for you to rediscover who you are.
Yes.
It's like a mirror. they will be holding a mirror for you to look yourself in.
Yes.
And the mirror
Actually,
is Shastra Vakya.
actually, we know it daily
Yeah.
in a deep sleep,
Hmm.
and we are not recognizing it.
Yeah. In deep sleep,
Yeah.
we're extremely happy.
Yeah.
We only knew it on waking up. And we had always wished, each one of us, that we perhaps had that extended impression of being happy all the time. That we have known, we have forgotten. Dhumena vriyate vannihi. That knowledge of yourself is as though covered by smoke, the smoke of ignorance. You have to simply waft it away by the Shastra Vakyas, Guru Vakyas, and Shraddha. Yeah, I think you
I will finish this.
finish
one
this
para.
para and call it a day.
Yeah, I'll finish this para. Only known objects become objects of desires. There are, of course, some known objects for which I do not have a desire. Scorpions, cancer, etc., for example. In fact, the more I know of such objects, the more I want to be rid of them. Also, an object that has been known and loved by me need not always be desirable to me. I may have no desire for it whatsoever a few years down the road. No one performs an action or undertakes a course of action without an end in view. Whether the end is right or not can only be discovered later. One may change one's view or give it up altogether for a variety of reasons. We have all done this. But what is desirable now, I will definitely seek out. Therefore, one who desires a particular end, any artha or kama, does so for his or her own sake. Suppose you say, no, Swamiji, it is not for my sake. It is for the sake of my son. This only means that your me has become a little extended, but it always reduces to me. Your me can extend to the community in which you live, to your religion, and to your nation also. It is your ego, an extended ego, and the more extensions, the healthier the ego. Still, the end is always for your sake alone.
Hari Om. You please make a note of the page number, Brahmara.
Yes.
And the heading is prayer is always, what is that?
Prayer is always for one's own sake. It's page
Yeah,
number
for
12.
one's own sake. It is not for the sake of pleasing Kitaya. He is eternally pleased. You are not praying to him. Does not make him dull that day. Not at all. Okay. Prayer is always for one's own sake. Okay.
Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati.
Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. But when we chant so many slokas, etc., Sri Rama Prichardam, Aham Rama Rakshastotram Patishyami. That is only the Sri Rama Prichardam is what? The Sri Rama who is your indweller. Your indweller. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hruddeshe Janateshtati. We have seen that verse.
Yeah.
That 61st verse in the 18th chapter. So, to please that Ishvara who is residing in you all the time, Sri Rama Prichardham means that. Otherwise, Sri Rama is eternally pleased. He does not require your support to be pleased. Nor will he be displeased and sorrowful when you withdraw that support. Okay, we'll see. This page number you noted?
Yes, page 12.
Page 12, okay. Do you know what? There are how many? 112 pages, I think.
Correct.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, 112.
Okay, good. We made some good progress. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everybody.
Dhanyavad.
Nanaji.
Such a pleasure to go through this introduction, Nanaji. It is so much pleasure. Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.